Good evening, everybody, and welcome to, and let me make sure I get this with the appropriate amount of enthusiasm as dictated by the title, 2 Data Points is a Meta, episode 62 of Stat Check, with an exclamation mark in the title, which does require me to pronounce it properly. And if you guys are recommending the episode to your friends, please do ensure that you're including just as much enthusiasm as that requires. Thank you for being with us tonight on the 26th of September, the night before LGT for me, as it's the only thing that's really mattered in my life for about the last week. How is everybody doing on this fine day?
I guess I'll start. Doing pretty well. I'm getting ready for GT next weekend. I just finished going through all 57 LGT lists.
And you said there were like two interesting ones, right?
Yeah, one was David Gaylord's, obviously, and the other one probably was Paul Unson's.
Paul's is not an interesting list. Don't give him that respect. Love you, Paul. Please play well at Battle of Britain. No, it's I think I read like 8 lists and got bored and went and did something else. I was like, this is the same shit that like you look at the faction list and you're like, I know what this is. I really don't care anymore.
Which is funny because we're only 2 weeks into the new meta that the data slate gave us. But there is an element of some people having felt that they've solved it.
Sure. There's an element. That's a lie. Olivia Weiss's list is the coolest one. And I am heartbroken that you didn't mention that. He has Strike and 10 Vanguard veterans. I cannot possibly fathom why, but good for him.
I mean, Shrike gives them loan up.
Yep, sure does.
But they are Vanguard veterans,
which is better, aren't they? Oh no, because the Vanguard veterans with jump packs are dirt cheap now.
They are cheap.
So if it's just
a regular
one around the, but why a 10-man? Yeah, okay. I'm starting to see what's going on here. Nathan, how you been?
I work too much, too long, and had to skip a GT over the weekend. That's about it. That's exactly what happened. Is I worked 60-ish, 65 hours last week, and it spilled over into my weekend. So I just
are you at least hourly or are you salaried, and that just sucks?
I'm a salaried employee. So I just get paid less the longer that I work, essentially. So when I work 65 hours in a week plus weekend, I don't get overtime. I just get paid less per hour of work that I do.
Do you get time in lieu at least or something, or is it just get screwed? No. Y'all need like labor laws or something in that country, guys. Like, come on.
Look, postdocs and graduate students are the glue that holds academic science together by meaning they don't need to get paid anything and they work real hard until they break. That's it. That's what happens in academic science. But without them, science doesn't work. So instead, I spent some time assembling some models this weekend and painting some stuff while I was not doing work. And then I played Baldur's Gate 3 when I was not doing work. And it was extra funny that I worked all that extra hours because last week was National Postdoc Appreciation Week. So I got appreciated by being given more work.
You sure to get appreciated all the way back into work.
I did.
They just have you in work as much as they could so they could appreciate you more. That's what it's really all about.
It is true. But that's about it. That's what I did over the weekend. I also stared a lot at like Tyranids things, and then I stared a lot at like really cool Tau units and like ideas for converting them to make them look like classic Zaku Gundams and stuff like that. And that was about it. That was what I did all weekend. Work and that.
As long as you had fun.
I did. I had a right time. I mean, I didn't really enjoy skipping out a GT that I paid a ticket cost for and not getting a refund for, but that's life, right? How about you, Ines? How was your weekend?
Am I allowed to say I was really stressed about submitting a list for a tournament that I knew I wasn't winning anyway and like hate that fact? I basically spent the entire weekend like prevaricating over what I was going to do for LGT and then like last minute audibling to a completely different super faction, not just faction, which is, like the kind of normal thing you do. So I basically went from being potentially playing Grey Knights, Tyranids, Marines, or like some combination of other stuff to F it, we'll play CSM. Do you have a CSM army? I have CSM models. So I've now then spent the last like 3 days frantically painting and building. I got the last of my CSM models on Sunday just gone. Built them while I was playing a game at the store using proxy models, and then sprayed them when I got home. Normal dude stuff. So yeah, I've ended up on something like a variant of like the Sacco Liam VSL MSU Space Marines list. I've got like 20 Chosen, 3 Chaos Lords, 4 Fiend Obliterators, all that good stuff. And I'm gonna run angry dudes with big axes at people, and it's gonna be great fun. And I'm gonna lose to an Eldar player, and I'm gonna go 4-1, or hopefully like 7-1, and that other player will be like in the semifinals. That's what we're looking for. Duck and weave.
He's got to channel that War Master's energy again.
Exactly. Duck and weave. It's all you got to do. Remember, guys, you can't play an Eldar player. If all the Eldar players are doing too well and play each other, you don't have to play them if you keep winning against all the Death Guard players. So that's the energy we're manifesting. I also managed to finish first in the invitational polling, which is really cool. So there's an LGT invitational going on with 24 players involved, and I managed to come out as the top seed of that, which I'm frankly confused about. And thank you to everybody who voted for me as the best player at the tournament. You're all wrong, but that's fine. I don't know who's better than me. I voted for myself as first place as well, but I'm not allowed to you have to just pretend to be humble about it. So yeah, it's great. I think I'm playing Tomic round 1 from Contact Lost, which is going to be super cool. I just recorded an episode with Contact Lost for top 7 force multipliers going into the event, which we did on their channel. You can check that out on youtube.com/Contact Lost probably. Nobody knows. I don't know how YouTube thumbnails work. Everybody knows that. But yeah, that's been me. It's been good. I'm almost done painting. I leave tomorrow to go down to Brian's because Anthony is staying at Brian's house. So I'm going to go there, go for dinner with them, and then travel down on the Thursday to go and. Well, my sister lives in London, so I'm going to go and hang out with her for the day. Then it's Martine's birthday a couple weeks ago, so we're going to go hang out with him for drinks, and then I'm going to go to the event at 9 a.m. on the Friday, having not slept, and that's really what LGT is all about.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, that's been me. How about you, Jeremy?
We already talked about me.
Did we?
We just wanted to talk about you a second time.
I don't want to.
But instead, we're going to talk about how 2 data points.
That's while I continue to eat this.
So this was my joke title because I was like, yeah, 2 data points definitely make a trend line. Not a very good one, but they make a line. So we're going to talk about 2 weeks of data. One of the weeks is kind of okay, and the other one is good data, or at least mostly, I think all actually post data slate numbers at this point. So we'll run through this data, and then I'm going to show you guys some images in a haphazard-ass fashion, and you guys are just going to have to see what the effect of the data slate looks like so far on the meta. So for this last week, our top performing faction of the week is a new faction. Well, in many ways. Leagues of Votann, 26 players, 3.3% meta representation, and a 58.5% win rate. They won an event. They top 4'd 2 events. They got 7 top 10s and had a 1.09 over rep. So for the first time in quite a while, our topmost faction is not over the 60% win rate hurdle, which is kind of neat. Definitely some small kind of victory there, I suppose, of some kind. So there's that. Eldar are not leaving the top 3 anytime soon, though. Eldar, 65 players, 8.2% of the meta, a 56.7% win rate. They won 3 events over the weekend, which is the most of any faction. They got 10 top 4s, 17 top 10s, and a 2.19 over rep. So the Eldar have definitely gone down in win rate and gone down in over rep, but they are still kind of just winning everything. So it's not like Eldar got nerfed out of contention. They're still there. They're still great. They're still amazing.
I can't wait till Eldar suck again. It's going to be so nice.
You're going to have to wait
till December for that, but it does mean at LVO they could suck.
They could. That's almost enough of what made me want to go to LVO, just to laugh at Eldar players, despite the fact that they're just going to be broken.
And then in third place, we have Chaos Space Marines, 52 players, 6.5% meta representation, a 55.9% win rate. They had 2 event wins, 3 top 4s, 11 top 10s, and a 0.82 over rep. So just a little under where they're supposed to be at. Gene Stealer Colts are in fourth at 19 players, 2.4% meta representation, 55.4% win rate, a single event win, 2 top 4s, 6 top 10s, and a 1.5 over rep. And then rounding out our top 5 is Orcs, 38 players, 4.8%, a 55% win rate, 5 top 4s, 8 top 10s, and a 1.87. And then just to point this out to solidify the fact that I won a tattoo bet just because Tau managed to win more than 2 GTs since Data Slate. Tau won their 3rd GT this weekend with a 4.3% meta representation, a 54.6 win rate, 1 event win, 2 top 4s, 10 top 10s, and a 0.84 over rep.
Who was your tattoo bet with for that one?
A local who bet me that Tau Empire were not going to win multiple GTs after, and they won 2 right away. And he was like, 2 doesn't count as multiple. And I was like, that's fine.
He won a 3rd one.
And then they won a 3rd one right away. And I was like, now I've won the tattoo bet. So you're going to get an Eldar tattoo. Congratulations.
It's a really dumb bet.
I didn't say it was a good bet. It's also his first tattoo. So it's definitely going to be a lot of fun for me in this situation. At the bottom of the pile, this has Space Marines split out, so we have Blood Angels at the bottom of the pile. 18 players, 2.3 meta representation, a 38.6% win rate. They did win an event, though. They also got a top 4, and they also got a top 10. So,
which is the same person.
Yeah, it's all the same person all the way down, because that is the same person being counted for each of those stats. Then Drukhari are the lowest performing pure faction. 15 players, a 1.9% meta representation. There's only, I think, 2 factions with a lower meta representation that aren't a Marine-based detachment. A 41.3% win rate and 1 top 10 for a grand total of 0 for overrep. And then what will make some of my local Custodes players very happy or sad, or both at the same time, Bittersweet. They are the 2nd worst performing faction of the weekend. 37 players, 4.6% win rate, or 4.6% meta representation, a 45% win rate. So just still within the balance window. 3 top 4s, 6 top 10s, and a 1.15 overall.
So the important thing is, because those players were right, they were just 3 months early. Their army does suck.
Yes.
Does it though?
No.
I was just gonna say 45% is fine.
Yep.
They're still top 4ing, so they're clearly not being shut out like Drukhari are.
So a skill issue is what I'm hearing.
Clearly, the meta just hasn't adapted for them.
Yeah, they should run less chainswords probably. Run less chainswords in your Custodes army is probably good advice. Stop trying Venatari, they're not good.
I mean, the points drops have made some very interesting things for Drukhari, where you can just kind of like mass MSU and transports and try to take board that way, but it just doesn't seem to be working out for people.
Yeah, I think
rounding up
Drukhari is primarily an identity issue, because
everybody who got into Drukhari last edition wants them to be punchy, and they're not.
They want them to be the fast, overly efficient melee trading army that just breaks the game.
And guys, that's Eldar now. Like,
also me.
Yeah, just play Eldar.
That's not the same. They're not. They don't. No, stop. Whatever. Fine. Grey Knights round out the bottom 5 is rounded out by Grey Knights. 28 players, 3.5 meta representation, a 45.4% win rate. Nope. Well, they got 2 top 4s and 3
I'm really glad I didn't submit them for LGT.
Astra Militarum round out the bottom 5 with 45 players, 5.7% win rate, or meta representation, 45.5% win rate, 2 top 4s, 5 top 10s, and a 0.63 overrep. One of our Discord members, Derek, is one of those top 4s. He got 3rd, going 4-0-1 at Armed Forces Day. So that was cool.
Hell yeah, go Derek.
The only army he drew was World Eaters. He managed to beat everybody else on his way there, which is kind of cool. In an 88-88
kind of good now, by the way. Loving World Eaters being good again. It's terrifying.
The saddest part, though, was Anthony telling me that World Eaters are the closest thing to 9th edition Drukhari, and then me being like, I guess I need to try World Eaters to see if that scratches the itch that I've wanted for a while. Which is fine. I just didn't really need that as an itch to scratch at this point.
Look, man, just play hard. Just play like Eldar. Look, you're going to get the same itch. What you want, right? This is the secret, okay? Everybody who played Drukhari last edition and wants Drukhari again, just play Eldar. It's exactly the same thing. It's broken units doing broken things. You didn't care about the playstyle. You weren't about that. You just wanted to win. Go play Eldar.
I did like going fast and murdering things in melee combat. Also, Drazar heaping an entire mountain of corpses around himself while like his
and the Incarn are basically the same data sheet.
So I actually have a confession to make. That data set doesn't include Armed Forces Day.
It doesn't?
You want to know why?
Why?
because the event TO marked it as an online event.
Oh Lord! All right, well that's cool. So now
So
we
that's
know
going
that
to be added tonight.
there's another event that needs to go in there. Excellent. So that's always fun.
Add
Don't
an
mark
event win for Astra Militarum.
Yep. Well, a top 4.
No, an event win.
Oh, did they also win?
Tyler
They
White
won
and
and
United
came
Midwest
third?
Project
Hell yeah.
won that event.
Oh dang!
I guess
Oh,
Armed Forces Day and people who did Guard just get like an extra 10% points or something? Or
because they all nearly joined the military. Yes,
yeah, it's just a whole bunch of people who nearly joined the military, and the critical mass caused every Eldar player to spontaneously join the army and be unable to play.
Man, it is really funny though to look up events because I was looking up what other GTs were happening in the nearby area, and there's like 5 online events, but they're all physical events just in like European countries, which is extra funny. So I don't know. People, stop marking your non-online events as online events. It makes things weird.
Everybody mark all of your events as physical and in Chicago to confuse Nathan. If you're playing a TTS league, it's in Chicago, right? And not
if you're
not
playing a
TTS
TTS league and it's marked in Chicago, I'll join it because I'm definitely looking
Guys,
for more competitive people. To
let's
play.
get like 35 leagues set up that are all in Chicago and just ruin Nathan's life. Nathan will have no time to play Baldur's Gate.
That's fine. I'll replace all my Baldur's Gate time with 10th edition. That's fine. That's a good replacement. So I also wanted to show some visuals today. Thank you to Cliff for updating the dashboard, although this is going to be missing a GT-sized event, as we just mentioned. Just kind of to talk about where the meta's at and then kind of the trends post-slate of where the meta's at. So I'm going to share my screen, which is always a terrible idea.
It always goes so well for us. I can't imagine why anybody... If you're listening to the podcast, don't be. Watch the YouTube show. It's better. You get to see us make weird faces and have stupid interactions with chat.
All right, so
and also the screen share, so this bit makes sense.
This is funny. We're going to do our best to describe it, though, for people. So essentially, we're looking at the meta. We're looking at the meta overview tab of the metadata dashboard on the StatCheck website. So statcheck-com.
Let's just make this easy. If you are currently listening to this podcast, please go to your browser and open up www.statcheck.com/the-meta.
Nathan, what 14 breads? I have to know.
What? What was the question?
What are the 14 must-see breads?
I'll open it at the end. We'll do it as a bonus bit, okay? If you just super chat some money, and I'll put it. I'll talk.
Also, and it's back off your mic. You're clipping it.
All right. As we can see from this, everything in gray is within the balance window. Everything in orange is under the balance window, and anything in light blue is above the balance window.
Hold up. How many factions do we have in the balance window now?
I think it's because Tau technically is rounded up to 56, but they're like 55.
So
I guess technically Tau should be blue. I don't know what's going on there.
But let's just say Tau is outside there. So we have how many factions here? 26. Didn't ask you to count. There are actually 26 in the database.
Okay, thank you. I was like, God damn it, Jeremy. I can count quickly, but I'm going to count slower to make sure I don't say it wrong. So there are 26 factions in the game, and there are 6 outside of the balance window currently.
So 20 out of the 26, so over 2/3 of them. In fact, almost 3/4 of them are within the balance window that GW wants us to have.
Yep.
Now, only 2 weeks in, as we jokingly said, 2 data points is a meta, but it kind of reinforces what Innes and I were talking about last week, in that things are looking pretty good.
They're definitely looking better.
Like even looking at like the event win distribution, no one army is dominating.
Yep. I mean, the closest thing that we're like seeing is still that Eldar are 57%.
Yeah, we knew Eldar didn't get hit hard enough.
Yeah, and it's different though because now we're not seeing them be the only faction that's winning GT-sized events. There are currently 3 factions at 3 event wins, which are Eldar, Tau, and Chaos Space Marines. There's a bunch of factions at 2 GT wins, and then there's a bunch of factions at 1 GT win, which is very different than what we were seeing pre-slate, where basically it was one faction with like 90% of the win, with all of the wins for every other faction combined together. and then some, typically towards the end of that meta. And now we're seeing kind of that return to the mean. And then I'm going to switch to a better visualization that kind of shows the effect that we're talking about when we talk about kind of the bottom performing factions going up and the top performing factions kind of going down. Is when we look at the graph of the meta over time. So this is all of 10th from the end of June through this last weekend. And you can see right after the slate release, which I believe is right here, you see just it's a tiny upward trend for Drakari. But for everybody else, there's definitely just kind of a push towards 50%, a very strong push towards 50% over the last 2 weeks.
Except Drakari, tough luck.
Except Drakari.
Now, the real
Everybody
reason they don't
else
have a strong push is because people just aren't playing them. If more people played them, they'd push towards the middle.
Yeah, because people are playing AdMech, dude, right? 100%. I bet that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, so we'll zoom in a little bit closer. So AdMech are right here. I know this gets us a little busy because of all the colored lines and stuff like that. And this is also summed across the whole edition.
How did Deathwatch still have a win rate? Out of genuine curiosity.
Deathwatch, they're still there. They're doing stuff.
What?
Look, man, I'm not here to explain why things are happening. I'm just here to explain that things are happening and that generally there's a...
Oh shit, the why is mine and Anthony's job, isn't it? Oh, fuck.
So the funny thing about that... Wait, No, that's not possible. Can you double check something real quick? Go back to your previous tab where he was just asking how Deathwatch are still winning things. Do Deathwatch have 2 event wins?
It shows 2 event wins here, yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
2 event wins.
Okay.
I'm so confused.
I'm very confused here.
11% 4-0 starts, apparently, for Deathwatch.
Which is double what they should be, yeah.
Well done to the 2 of you playing them.
Excuse me.
They are only 1% of the player base, yes. There are some of them.
There are 18 players, and they're having the best time.
They're having the greatest time. They are doing just the bestest.
They have an 11% 4-0 event start, which is 2, and they've converted both of those to event wins. Hell yeah. Hero plays.
All right. So now I'm curious which events those are that they've won.
You'll have to go find them. But I think
well,
there are signs pointing towards the slate being effective. We'll have
it seems to have done a good job. If it had only hit Eldar, if it only had actually hit Eldar, it would have been great.
Yeah. So, like I said before, I gave this slate like a passing grade, but not like a great grade, like a C. Like a C plus. Almost there, but not quite all the way to where we wanted it, which is fine. C's make degrees, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, like if you had removed the Night Spinner and the Incarn, it would be a perfectly balanced book.
Yes, maybe, possibly,
and maybe Wraithguard.
Yeah, I would if they didn't have Pokeball Incarn, I would at least feel like I could play them.
True.
So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now because all of you have seen enough.
No, the bread.
What?
No, that's a bonus content. That's at the end of the
bonus
episode.
Content at the end. We'll share my screen again in a totally scuffed fashion so that everybody can see bread. I don't know why that's even there, actually. I don't know what 14 must-see bread making sites is what it says. So there you go.
It's not even bread. It's sites
it's not even bread. It's sites for making bread.
Oh, yeah.
I hope the link is...
exponential bread.
So both the Deathwatch event wins have been the other side of the pond. Last weekend, Warhammer 40,000 Throne of Skulls was won by Piotr Hernley, who was playing Blackspear Task Force. Throne of Skulls was a Warhammer World event, but nothing special about it. He went 5-0 and he won the event. And then Kevin Zollinger, who I believe is a German player.
No, Austrian. Come on, rude.
Whatever. The event was in Slovenia. I had to take a guess as to where he was from.
It's
based
all
on
the
his
same.
name.
It doesn't matter. They're just all European countries.
Kevin's one of the WTC admins. He ran the organization, one of the organizational side of things. He also runs the Salzburg Bremen GT that's this weekend, the one that's in and he's also the guy that beat me LGT last year, or one of the two. So
beautiful. All right.
I know Kevin well. Kevin's a good lad.
Thank you for the correction then. So Kevin Zollinger won. He was playing Gladius with Deathwatch.
That's cool. I like that. And double kill teams are still a cool data sheet, and so are Pro Days kill teams with Watchmasters. So yeah, might be mileage in that. It seems interesting.
But yeah, he did. He went. I think he went.
I mean, fuck all reason to be Black Spear now, right? So
yeah, definitely.
I will say
he went 5-1.
Hero mode.
It's awesome.
Oh no, that was
That we
War
need at least
Master.
one more data point to make a better line, Pope.
Hey, Mona, he went 5-0.
One more data point.
We need one more Deathwatch tournament win. Who will be our hero?
Who will be our third week of Deathwatch winning GT events
Yeah.
of some sort?
So there are 11. There are 2 Deathwatch players, and they're having the best time. Congratulations to both of you.
If one of you could win LGT, that would be amazing.
Oh,
I don't think either of them are LGT, sadly, given that Kevin's currently running an event in Germany this
Yeah, I was
weekend.
gonna say. That's why I thought he was German, because he usually shows up at German events.
No,
All
he
I'm
runs.
saying,
He
Kevin,
helps run
is you
Alpine
should
Cup.
enter your own event. Go enter your own event so that you can win it and get another GT win for Deathwatch.
He'll ringer it and win.
I'm also going to warn everybody because I checked to make sure that must-see bread-making sites thing was still like an active link. That is not as exciting as everybody thinks it's going to be.
I
Just
don't
putting
care.
it out
I
there.
need to know.
We really don't care. It's gonna be fun.
Okay.
I was thinking there was going to be more scuffed stuff in your bookmarks bar, but I'll settle for bread.
I mean, we could look at Butterflake Herb.
There was a Pokemon map as well, but I don't like.
That one's not live anymore.
Probably the old Pokestops map.
It is. Yeah. So let's transition into talking about LGT, I suppose. Innes, do you want to talk about some LGT stuff?
Do we want to talk about LGT numbers before we get into it?
Yes.
Do the LGT numbers bit, because then I can talk about LGT as an event as a whole.
Okay. This is gonna be scuffed, so I'm not even gonna bother sharing my screen.
It was the terrible one that's got like Tau Sept and Tau marked separately and stuff.
No.
Okay, good.
Come on now. Just for
I know.
that, I'm sharing my screen.
Do you have the pie chart?
No, I don't have any of that.
Heartbroken.
Window, because I'm not going to do what he just did. You can all
Jeremy
see what I've called this file.
You're not going to share your web browser so that somebody can find an embarrassing bookmark on there that they need to
My
see?
bookmarks are actually very boring, and I've shared them more than enough times that I'm pretty sure people know what's going on. So this is, in its entirety, 757 lists that currently make up the LGT. We'll see who actually ends up making it through. Of special note, I will add, I assume you can all actually see my screen. I'm just looking at a spreadsheet right now.
I can see it. We can see it.
All right. So
if you're watching in terrible resolution, you probably can't see it. But tough.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk through things really briefly, and I'm gonna talk about some trends. The very most hilarious thing is that we have our first in over, oh god, I don't know how many players now. After almost 8,000, no, more than 8,000 lists that I have read of 10th edition for GT Plus Play, we finally have someone that
it seems like a hugely small amount.
That took Imperial Agents.
Fuck yeah, dude. What's he playing?
They have, no, it's Imperial Agents. There is no detachment. He has as many of the agents as he can legally take. And then he took 3 knights as allies because he can't fit everything in there.
Can you can field an army with no detachment?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if it's actually legal.
Could you play Space Marines without a detachment? Like if you wanted to?
There is just a way around this, isn't there? You just play like a Custodes detachment, but you don't include any Custodes. Or any Imperial faction, really. You
No, then you'd be limited to 2 units of 2 agents units.
Oh. Yeah, but you could fill it out with knights.
I must know.
Yeah, we're now all going down the rabbit hole of is this actually illegal? Because I went through it and I was like, this seems cool. I don't know if this actually works, but you know.
And then I had to ask the hard-asked question of, can you field armies without detachments? I'm sorry, people.
I mean, it says select army faction and select detachment rules and then select units.
Can you skip? Does it say you can select a detachment? Or does it say you
It just
have
says
to
note
select
on
a
your army
detachment?
roster 1 set of detachment rules for your army.
That sounds like you need
Is
to pick
no
a
detachment legal?
That doesn't sound like it. That makes it.
I
sound
will
like you need
make
to pick
it
a
legal.
detachment.
Anyway, I wanted to point this out because I saw Imperial Agents like, okay, just someone fucking around. But I remember UKTC is actually fairly strict on making sure you declare your faction properly. And I looked through it and I was like, no, he actually did take like Imperial Agents as his faction in the army. So
I do love it. I don't actually think or care if it's legal because I don't
me
think the
data,
Imperial,
100%.
oh,
I don't think that Imperial Agents player is winning the LGT guys.
No. If they
But
win
if he
again, I will
does-
be impressed. Actually,
If
no,
he does,
I
I'll
don't
get
think
it.
that.
Those agent
We've
squads
had
are
Warhound
pretty
Titans
tanky.
winning games, so now. So
If he wins, I'll get a tattoo of an Imperial Agent thing. I don't know.
If
what
he wins a
it'll be.
game, that's bold.
No, if he wins the event.
Oh, okay.
just have everyone
Let's
just eat to him.
Multiple games.
All right.
If he has a
Then-
positive record, I'll consider it.
All right. On the top end, and I'm just going to break this. I'm just going to put all Marines together because Marines are boring. Marines make up 17% of the meta at LGT. I've also taken a look at the last 2 weeks just to compare it. That's basically exactly where they're at right now. They make up 17.2 at LGT, and they make up 17.7 at the last 2 weeks. The interesting ones are World Leaders. World Leaders have surged in representation. They are almost 70% more of them as compared to the last 2 weeks. So I blame Anthony for that one. Tyranids are actually lower by about 15%. Tau are about 40% more common, which, okay. And then Imperial Knights are about 40% less common.
Oh, so all the Knight players play
now playing Tau. Yeah.
Yep.
Drukhari are 30% more common.
Interesting. Can you hide the skimmer?
That's a really small sample size for Drukhari, though, right?
I know. Can I hide what?
Can you hide Venoms on UKTC boards?
Probably.
Yeah.
I would just assume that like
hide Land Raiders.
Then yeah, you can probably hide Venoms and Raiders.
Yeah.
Oh, you got Raiders. No, yeah, God, Raiders. Raiders are too tall.
Chaos Space Marines are about representative. Chaos Knights are also down by about 25%. Same with Guard, which was actually an interesting one. I actually thought
Guard are down a decent amount compared to, or like they're down like 10%, right? For their numbers. They're up.
They're up 8%.
Like, yeah.
This number is
that's the.
This
I'm just reading the columns.
This has changed to here. Yeah.
So not many Chaos Knights, not many Guard, and then not many Nids.
Yeah,
not many Nids is actually weirdly surprising. I'm surprised that there's.
They are like the 7th faction.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're that uncommon. I think the thing that still amuses me is that you have 40 Marine players and then you have 34 Dark Angel players.
Look, I'm sorry, okay?
And they're not all Gladius, so.
How many Land Raider Redeemers are at this event, though? That's what I really want.
A fair amount. Not every list has one, but a whole lot of them do.
All of those guys are going to be really disappointed the first time somebody goes first into them and just like puts a Nurgle squad in front of it, and it's like, "What's your plan, bro?" And they're like, "Didn't get this far."
I mean, I've definitely jammed Von Ryan's Leapers underneath a Land Raider before. Just be like, "Yeah, look, they'll die, but they're here."
Take some time.
I've also tank shocked a Lictor to death with a Land Raider, so that was funny. T-Sons and Grey Knights are both at 33. That's about it. Orcs are kind of like the middle of the pack. Leagues of Votan are holding steady. They're up like 8% week over week. I'm gonna be paying a close attention to see how they do this weekend because there are some fun builds out there.
It's really easy when you can just suddenly afford like 30% more stuff, right?
I can't believe how much more
it's like 20% more
Town
stuff,
World
but yeah.
Leaders are definitely the breakouts. I get technically AdMech as well, but AdMech is small sample size. There are so many Town World Leaders of this tournament comparatively to normal. It's genuinely quite insane.
Yeah. I love how AdMech increased 44%, but that's because they went from 1.1% of the meta to 1.6% of the meta. So that's not
Heroes, all of them. Except you, Paul. You decided not to submit them.
Custodes are actually much higher than people expected as well. They're about 20% more represented at this event than they have been the last 2 weeks.
Necrons is down too, which strikes me as interesting.
Look, there's only so much time you can spend listening to everybody say, "How do I kill 20 Necron Warriors?" before you're like, maybe I shouldn't submit 20 Necron Warriors.
Yeah. All right. So that's what we're looking at for like the overall kind of picture of the meta. It's interesting. It's fairly it's not entirely similar, but there's only a couple of factors that are really out of whack.
So Sisters and AdMech are the real factions that are the lowest representation, which I think makes sense. I mean, with Sisters, AdMech, and GSE being 3 of the bottom 4 as being the 3 most expensive factions, it makes sense for like a bigger tournament where there's less like dedicated comp players and stuff like that at them as well. Yeah, and Drukhari are not a cheap army, although their battle forces
below 20 are AdMech, Sisters, Drukhari, Genestealer Cults, and Imperial Knights.
And Knight players don't interact.
This is the only one that really surprises me, is just how much of a drop off they saw.
People saw the Bondsman nerfs, and I think maybe they're overreacting a little bit, but
or they're looking at LGT terrain and like, this no good for me.
Yeah,
Chaos
interesting
Knights
to look
apparently
at.
the same.
Yeah, but they can just go through walls, right? Just
I'm
pop
The
to
app
the
says
side.
you can play Imperial Agents. So
Yeah, the app, like, it was an app generated list.
Oh,
I'm
So
sure
I
it'll
was
be
just like,
fine.
it must be legal. Don't know. I'm annoyed because I need to. It's going to fuck up all of my stats.
Technically, it seems wrong. Like I think legally you should not be able to because the rules do say to select a detachment. Excuse me. But like if you can't, there isn't like a
Yeah, like if there is no detachment for the army that you've selected, what are you supposed to do?
the world breaks. It just breaks apart.
Likely, yes.
like you just stop, right? Like the game just you draw like infinite draws. That guy's going through. That guy's going 2.5. Their game gets to the muster army step and they clock out. Like
It's true. All right,
mental.
Ants.
Yep. Once I stop sneezing, like
Never.
ramble for a minute.
I'm kind of intrigued to see how David Gaylord does with his guard list, because 3 tank commanders is definitely not what I predicted in my life when I was thinking about guard lists. It's 3 more tank commanders than I really predicted in this world, but they do put out a lot of blast and blast related shots.
Yeah, they have blast and blast accessories. So yeah, for anybody who's not been following, LGT is this weekend. It's a 750 player tournament. We just ran through the stats for it. It's playing 5 rounds and then a top cut with 750 players. I believe that means that there's going to be 10 rounds, same as last year, which should be, by my reckoning, it should be 3 games for the Invitational on Friday, then the semifinals of the Invitational on Friday night, then 3 games on Saturday, and then the finals Invitational on Saturday night, and then 3 games for the main, and then 2 games for the main event that everybody plays on the Sunday, then the shadow round, then 3 games to determine the rest of that. Does that add up? Then 4 more games on Sunday? That seems right.
Wouldn't that be on Monday, though?
On Monday, yeah. So it should be... There's a lot of games. There's a lot of Warhammer going on, it turns out. If you want to win both events, it's 15 games. That's the long and short of it.
15 games in 4 days. Hell yeah.
15 games in 4 days. 3.75 games per day. Yeah, it's a lot of Warhammer. War Games Live is going to be streaming it, so do check out there if you want to see all of the coverage. Contact Loss has been doing a bunch of pre-event store coverage, so of a bunch of other places like 6++. I'm sure we'll do some content on it. 40K Fireside have just done their most recent episode on it. It's the biggest event in the UK. It should be, in general, it's the second biggest single event on the planet after LVO. It is worth paying attention to as a herald of the new meta. Myself and Anthony are both going to be there. If you are there at the event and you want to come say hi, I believe Anthony has a bunch of static dice that he'll be handing out. I will be there and to say hi to you because I gave all my static dice away and I live too far away to resupply sometimes. So yeah, broadly, the event is looking like the event is UKTC terrain, so it's fixed terrain. You can see all of that on the UKTC website, which you can Google and it'll show up pretty easily. So we're playing on fixed terrain formats, which is becoming more common in the like the North American scene, I think. So for people who've not played on fixed events now, I think it's becoming a lot more uncommon. What that means is there's a lot more scope to prep and prepare your army. And like I've played every mission for this event at least a couple of times on all the terrain formats. Like people know what the terrain is like for this event. There is very little lists are designed for this format, so do be aware when you come away from this that there are some things that are just less playable on this. Every time I see a guard list with a shadow sword, I just know that it's American that submitted it. Like a shadow sword or a bane sword or anything like that, you just know because that thing cannot move on these boards. Like it is just not possible. They are not designed with that kind of thing in mind. Even stuff like devilfish have a real difficulty getting around on these boards. So definitely pay attention to that. I remember last year, a bunch of them guard players were not running sponsons on their Russes because guard Russes with a sponson do not fit through some of the gaps. Guard Russes without a sponson do. So you sometimes see some of that. Things like Rogaldorns also take a hit with things like that. Land Raider Redeemers, which I'm playing in the Invitational, did not make my main event list because imagine trying to move that thing. You're doing the Austin Powers a billion point turn to get it through 2 ruins. Every board has an open middle objective, which is always very terrifying. In the one mission where we play Hidden Supplies, it's split into 2 and it's not open, but they're very close together. That mission has objectives 4.4 inches apart. You really don't want to be You really don't want to be the guy that's trying to hold that objective as your consistent one into somebody else doing the same thing on the other side, and you're not going to be safe there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's going to be a really cool event. I am very much hoping to do well myself. My list details my performance through the last few LGTs. My first LGT, I went 5-0. My second, I went 4-1. My third, I went 3-2. So we are very much hoping that the downward spiral does not continue and that we can buck that trend. We're hoping for second place. Yeah, that's what we'll have. My one loss to LR be the finals, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, for that one, I'm playing CSM. I touched on my list a little bit earlier when I was talking through what I'm painting, but I figured that was the best chance for scamming my way through some Elder matchups against players who aren't as good as me and high rolling the fuck out of some players who are better than me. Brian, I'm coming for you. I'm going to high roll you. You know what's happening. See you in the finals, baby. Yeah, that's all I really got. Anthony's playing World Eaters, which is glorious. I'm so happy for him. He seems so much happier about 10th edition since he's switched to World Eaters. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but he complains so much less in chat now. Like, in the backstage, I haven't heard Anthony whinge once since he resolved the Berserker Glaive. And, like, really, that's what 10th edition's about for me now.
I mean, when you look at that enhancement for the first time, and it's like, when you charge, you get all this extra stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's really awesome. Plus D3 text, plus D3 damage on your weapon. It's pretty good.
And it's a modifier.
Mm-hmm.
David, I'll tell you what, right? I'll make you a deal. If you kill all the Eldar players, I'll see you in the final. I'll let you. You can win this time, right? Let's go for that. I'm okay with that. I've already mentally agreed.
Collusion.
So if you take out all the guard, if you take out all of those, I'll take out whatever like anti-tag stuff is good into you. I have no idea what it is because I don't know what your army does. But like anything that's a bad matchup for you, I'll beat, and then you beat all the Eldar, and then we'll play in the finals, and you can have it. Right? Let's do that.
And to answer your question, Ben, I believe he did play one game into double Night Spinner.
Look, I think Anthony has accepted certain universal truths, like that Night Spinner players are not allowed to interact with us anymore, and we just don't want to speak to you. Like, thank you, but no, I don't need your energy in the world. There is nothing that you can say to me that will make me think you are a better person because you own Night Spinners. Frankly, that's really all I need to know about you.
I'm gonna stuff 3 Night Spinners apparently back into my storage bins so that Innis
look, man, use them as basing material for your Bane Blade. All right.
Oh man, I forgot to put that out. I'm gonna go grab that during our break.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's something you need to show off because it's been a little while since you've been on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, have we not even spoiled that? Oh, that's cool, man. We have so much going on in so little time.
But yeah, so has anybody seen any interesting lists? We got Anthony on World Eaters, which is making him happier.
Anthony's on Angron World Eaters as well, which is the best bit. Anthony did not play Angron at all last edition, and I think it's great. I very much look forward to that. Mike Porter is on Mono Harlequins. Vic and Brian are on identical triple Night Spinner lists, and I hate them both. Nassim has fallen to the dark side and is on 20 Wraith Guard. I don't know. I read the good Eldar list and I was like, cool, man, they're winning. Who cares? Sacco and Liam Vissel are both on Chosen and Obliteration Forge Fiends and Celeste, which I think is cool. Celeste is a super fun little model who has the Phoenix Gem because everything is in Eldar terms now. David Gaylord is obviously on 4 Lehman Russes and 2 Basilisks and God's Ghost. Let's go. Trying to channel that Benjuric energy. Capture the Outpost is on their data sheet. It just says you score that card. I think that would be a cool goal. God's Ghost get a roll. If you're playing tactical, you can choose at the start of your turn for one of your cards to be captured on the Outpost.
Once per game or every turn?
Once per game.
I would accept it.
I do actually want to shout out Noah Badome. He's one of the... I believe he's based out of the Pacific Northwest in the United States. But he's heading out to LGT. I don't know if he's traveling or he's there, but he's
the only person from a softer meta than LGT.
Ow. Oh, don't forget that David's also running a Rogaldorn, which seems
David.
Brave.
I don't think it can move, but I look forward to seeing it try. David practices a lot. I'm sure he's very equipped for doing K turns.
But yeah, so Noah's running the Atropos Errant and then
Oh, yeah.
2 Helverins, 4 Warglaves, and the Calidus and a Calexis.
Do you know what? I don't even hate knight players anymore. You're just playing bad army. Knight players. You're okay with me now. I don't think you have developmental problems like Vic does.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
Whoa. We don't need this level of flame in our stream today.
That wasn't flame. I'm saying I don't think they have that.
Yes, we've definitely seen heard the
Yeah,
concept.
and Noah does make a good
Backhanded
point. He does play
compliment.
very little in his own meta. He actually travels a fair amount for events.
I hear that's smart based on the people and level of play in that area.
Jesus.
David just uninvited me to dinner. David, I said I like your list. It's Vic's and Brian's I don't like. Like, come on, it's fine. I'll be all right.
Yeah, I was the one that was throwing shade at David's list.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. All the Tau are basically the same. There's not like a lot going on there.
Yeah,
I'm
tower
intrigued.
lists are like 7 models. Like they have less list diversity than Tyranids.
I did see a list that has a Devilfish, but it's really just on the Space Pope that goes in it, and that's it. As far as I can tell, there's no other infantry in that list.
Yeah, the only thing
Devilfish
that I'm disappointed
struggle
about
to move a
David's
bit.
list is that he doesn't have more Catechans and Chimeras.
That is true. Catechans and Chimeras are super fun.
He
Sky
has
move on a
units of
Chimera
them.
is
Like
just
he should
great.
have like 6 units of them.
I think at some point you do run out of place to deploy tanks, even on UKTC boards with 4 ruins in your deployment. So like you do run out eventually.
That right there is like 2 Chimeras with Catechans in it.
It's a good point, well made.
He's got a Scout Sentinel and an infantry squad and a Bulgrin squad.
That
That
could be
right
more
there, that's another
Chimeras.
2 more.
That's all more Chimeras. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Come on.
The Bulgrin squad is kind of interesting.
Actually, no,
I
he
don't
can
know.
keep the Bulgrin squad. He has to drop the Eradicator.
I don't understand the Eradicator. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on there. I need to go.
All I
apparently
will
listen to
say
40K
is
Fireside to figure
kudos
that
to
one
him
out.
for having fixed his list, because when it was first submitted, it was unreadable.
It just had every sponson weapon on it.
On every single
Maybe
tank.
he was
On every
submitting- maybe he thought it was like Space Marine Eradigators. I don't know. You just like read the wrong data sheet. Was like, wow, this one gets full hit wound and damage rerolls and submitted that. You know, like we don't know.
No.
I heard he was on holiday in Greece for his honeymoon or something. Like, I can't promise he was able to read the app
I can't remember what
appropriately.
the Eradicator does.
It gets the Vindicator rule. It can shoot in combat with blast
Okay,
weapons.
It can
Yeah.
shoot blast weapons into combat.
Clearly, it's there for mad tank shock. It's going to tank shock. It's going to get locked in combat. And it's going to keep shooting you, right? That's what it's there for. If I don't see that thing on David's opponent's home objective, I'll be disappointed in him. That and Gaunt's Ghost are the tag team for like murdering Lichguard. That's what it is. Who else had interesting lists? Like, goddamn, nobody had interesting lists. It's honestly, every list of this event sucks. They are all just the worst. I love this meta. I don't even think the meta is that bad. I just think every list is identical to everyone else's list.
I like the idea of running pure Harlequins. I don't know.
But it's
not entirely pure Harlequins because
And credit to him, he does have his list name does recognize that he has a crutch, which is Fuegan.
Oh yeah, Manny's playing 200 cultists. Manny's playing like 8. He's playing like max a cursed cultist, and as many regular cultists he can fit with the points left, and double fortune and Abaddon and squad of legionnaires. It's just horde bullshit. And honestly, I don't understand how that man's not in a back brace after playing Rax last year. And he was like, "Do you know what? We'll do that again." Strong energy, powerful. I hope he gets scraped off. I hope like somebody just like scrapes his army into a bin, like as they go, just like every round. Also, if you're at LGT and you're walking past Manny's table, just take an accursed cultist. He will not notice. He cannot notice. There is no way.
No,
He'll
notice the accursed cultist. It's the regular cultist.
No. Like, there's no way that man notices that one model around. Like, you walk past his table, just one in your pocket. There's no way on earth that he notices that, and you'll be fine. and that's how we beat Manny, like without even having to beat. Like by round 4, he'll be deploying like Abaddon and a Legionnaire. It'll be all right.
For me, I want to see how he identifies which of his accursed cultists are undivided and which ones are Nurgle.
You flip a coin at the start of the turn, I think.
Jesus.
I don't know, man. The meta is kind of garbage. There's one guy playing 18 Juggernauts. That guy's my hero. There's like 18 Juggernauts and Scarbrand and stuff. I have no idea what his name was because it was just somebody showed me it, but I like that guy's list.
I think we're starting to enter into a phase of kind of doldrums because everybody has one detachment.
Oh, you hate Danny Porter's list, right?
I don't hate it. I just dislike what he did with it. And it was more just because he was lazy in how he wrote it.
Oh, okay.
I got to look at it.
So
Danny Porter is running...
There's 60 points? Jesus.
What are you yelling at?
I'm just like amazed at the points on Votan units now. Like 60 points for a 9-year champion?
Yes.
So it's Uthar, a 9-year champion, a Call, a 9-year champion, not just a champion apparently according to the list. 30 Pioneer or 30 Hearthkin, 20 Hearthguard, 6 Pioneers in 2x3, and then 6 Sagittars.
Yep. Like it's not a bad list.
No, it's not. It's a ton of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Clocks are fine. They are encouraged. You are allowed to use them at any point. I believe if you're undefeated on day 2, you have to use them. We play clocks.
Yeah, and the judges at UKTC events are very solid. So, well, when they aren't trying to ban deep striking rapid ingress.
Look, I was gonna say, so I'm playing Tomic round 1. Tomic, I was gonna say move block the Land Raider, but then I actually read your list for the first time after I saw that you were the opposite, and you've got 2. So I don't know, man. We just gonna brawl in the middle with Land Raiders. We can make like car noises as we're doing them. We'll bring down a mat that's got like the mat, like the streets on it, and we can just like beep, 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 as we drive our Land Raiders around.
Please, one of you bring that and replace the actual mat with the car mat from Kids stuff. Yes, please do that. One of you needs.
We have one of those at Saltire. It's fantastic. It's cut down to size to be a 40 by 60, 44 by 60, and everything. It's fantastic.
Extra large kids mat. How much are these?
See what we should do.
Jeremy's looking to order one for his.
You know how Dan's doing mats for stat check? What if we got one done up that was that? Like we got the art done up?
We should.
Let's do it. We don't have the time for that, but our next round we definitely will.
Next round we could definitely.
So here's the problem is that when we buy these mats, we have to buy them in bulk to get the price right.
But if we did custom ones that were like statue and we like actually got them like got the art commissioned and stuff, I think we'd sell those.
Yeah, we would sell them. We should do that for the next round.
We definitely should. That'd be great if we made them like actually have like static references and stuff like that on them.
They're just peach trees and stuff like that on the side of the road.
All right, I'm opening up Fiverr.
It's like we can get like the static logo in the middle integrated. We could get like the streets could be the deployment layouts, and
I love everything about this. I won't lie. I think this is great. Let's do it. I think we're dealing psychic damage to Jeremy as he considers.
No. I'm just looking at this because like I'm actually looking at it like a 78 by 59 inch like play rug is only $80 Canadian.
But we want the mat so we can roll.
No, I know. But like, if I just wanted to do this as a one-off, I could do this.
Yeah. The problem is getting it like so that you can actually put models on it and they don't fall over because it's like carpet. Which is the real problem with the one that we have is that it's just carpet.
I wonder if that art is just available license free at this point.
Probably not, but it might be. But it's not something that's difficult to create. Its own version. Yeah, Dave's backpack sword, Pete's freeze, egg bar, movie theater showing the SpongeBob movie. Matt's cool. God damn it,
we would crowdsource the Discord for things that they recommend should be on it. I think we could definitely do this.
Is such a bad idea, but this is such a good idea.
The best idea. Can you imagine a whole tournament where every table is this?
Well, about that.
I feel like we can...
Yes, the Red Dragon does ship to the UK.
Not for 40k stuff, but for general stuff. Yeah,
Tim's Laundromat is a good one.
Tim's Laundromat.
Anthony's Math School.
Sigil Mats apparently does custom mats. Maybe we can just get
we'll figure this out.
We'll figure it out later.
You guys aren't going to hear about this one for a while, and then suddenly you're going to hear about it again a whole lot.
So now that we've covered a few things and are definitely like tangenting off, I'm going to go run over and grab the thing.
Cool.
So that we can talk about
while Nathan does that. Right. Plugs. This section of the show that everybody tolerates. Thanks everybody for being with us for so far episode 62 of Stat Check. We are about halfway through the show. We'll be going to show questions just after this. It is greatly appreciated that you're all here and really interacting with us in the YouTube channel or in the YouTube comments. If you would like to do that for the live shows every week, that is youtube.com/statcheck every Tuesday at 11 p.m. 11 p.m. UK, 6 p.m. Eastern, and various other times across the globe that, frankly, I will never do the math for, and I'm going to continue to say that every time. If you're not up for being on the live show and you can't make it, or it's during your bedtime, because understandable, do check out the podcast. That's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the usual places that you can get it. Usually we post on Goodhammer. I've been really slacking on that for the last couple of weeks, and I will be stepping that back up again after LGT or before LGT, because frankly that's just on me. Yeah, that can be found everywhere podcasts are found. Or you can go onto our website where they're all linked, I'm pretty sure, which is stat-check.com. While you're on stat-check.com, you can also check out a bunch of other things, like the other shows on the network, X and 1 and The Matrix, which are run by Tim and Cliff, which will be this Wednesday. They're going to be going over something. I actually have no idea what their topic is. And Into the Matrix, which runs on the alternate weeks with Nathan, the other Nathan, and Typhus, which covers all things team events. Yeah, while you're on the website, you can also check out other things like the metadata dashboard that we were talking through earlier. If you want to see all those cool stats that Nathan and Jeremy were talking about, you can see it all there. If you want to get access to myself and Typhus, if you're interested in improving your 40k game at all, check out the coaching tab or drop us an email at stat-check.com or at coaching@stat-check.com. Apologies.
Calicop.
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got on the website. For sponsors, we've got Red Dragon and Saltar. Red Dragon is our primary Canadian sponsor. They're the one that we were talking about that's going to be doing mats for us. We did those in our Discord. We'll be hopefully showing them off properly for everybody later on. They also do a 50% discount code for anybody who's in our Patreon, and they also are just a wonderful supplier of the things like our objective mats and our dice and all that kind of thing. They do ship anywhere in the world. Do recommend combining orders with somebody else if you're going to try and do that anywhere. But they will ship to you, or get them sent to somebody in the US and get them to bring them over for a tournament or whatever. It's always an option. I'm going to need to do that again when I'm over in Atlanta, and just get some more dice, because I think I'm down to 6 of each color. But they roll really well. I promise I've won tournaments with them. So, take from that what you will. Yeah, the other one is Saltar Games. Saltar Games run our more tokensy merch store. You can check out Etsy, Saltar Games. You just need to drop that in the search bar. Etsy's URLs are a little more awkward, so I don't have them memorized. But yeah, they have things like tokens for Ultimate Moment or +1 to hit, or measuring gauges for deep strike. They're really cool, 9-inch measuring gauges with an arc at the end, so you can put squads down. Really enjoy using them. They definitely help speed up playing Gene Circle significantly, to the point where I don't hate myself when I'm playing them, which is honestly really impressive, because that army is miserable at the best of times. We're also going to be at the Cali Cup. Yeah, that's the last thing. We are going to be doing coverage while we're there. With Nathan and Jeremy are going to be running the stats desk and doing a bunch of stuff with the interaction. Myself and Anthony will be running classes while we're there on the Thursday. That is in San Diego on the somethingth of November. I think it's the 2nd. That sounds like the right math. 2nd or 3rd, the first week of November, we're going to be at the event in Cal. If you're going to be at the event, do check out the classes. They are linked in the description below. They're on Eventbrite as well. If you search Stat Check, they'll come up, or go to the California Cup 40k website, and that will all show up there. I think that's all I need to plug, except the Patreon. If you're not on the Patreon, you should be on the Patreon. It's a really good way to support us. We love interacting with everybody in that Discord. It's one of the best communities I've ever been a part of in terms of 40k. It's been super helpful in terms of helping and watching other people grow and having just awesome interaction with the community and shitposting religiously about almost anything and everything. And that is patreon.com/statcheck. Please check that out if that is something that interests you, if you're in a position to support us. If not, drop us a like, a comment, or a subscription on the YouTube video or on the podcast app, or review, or whatever. Anything you can do to promote us would be greatly appreciated. If not, tell a friend. Come and say hi at a tournament that we're at. Anything you can do to show your support, we really appreciate it, because it helps us keep doing what we're doing.
We do run prize-supported events and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, we run prize-supported events. We will at some point be remembering to do that, to send out the actual prize report for that. I honestly, I've had a really rough week. We also have the 50% discount code for Red Dragon and a bunch of other cool stuff like that. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, or you just want to support the show, patreon.com/statcheck is the place to do it. Also, you'll definitely get your question answered, because we're about to do the questions and answers section. And if you just put it in the channel, in the YouTube comments, we can't promise we'll get to it. We'll do our best. If you drop a super chat, we'll definitely do it. But if it's in Discord, we will 100% answer. And without further ado, Nathan has a delivery to show us all.
Oh God, this is the weirdest thing. But so,
did you censor the address?
What?
Did you...
You're not going to see it.
Okay.
It doesn't. The address is
What
actually
your surname?
rarely covered with a sticker. But all right, I'm just going to open the box. So I ordered a bunch of Tyranids from Red Dragon and got sent just a shit ton of Neurogons and stuff like that as like extra stuff. But I also was sent a third box that I opened and was extremely confused and for like a moment, and then I burst out laughing because we also got sent a Baneblade. Technically, this is me and Innis's Baneblade.
Hell yeah, leave half for me to build.
I'm gonna assemble half of it, and then maybe I'll just assemble the whole thing and saw it in half, just like right in half down the middle and give you half of it. I don't know how I'm gonna make that work, but I'll figure it out.
What I would like you to do is just leave like one piece off, and the next time I see you, I'll put that piece on. Just leave like one bit of track unglued, and I'll glue it in, and then that'll be our combined effort.
I was also going to paint it in the colors of the Scottish flag.
Hell yeah.
So
I think what we should do is you should bring that unassembled to Cali Cup.
And I'll assemble it over the course. I'll assemble it over the course of Cali Cup, just during the broadcast.
Just gonna come to my table with like a movable tray with a Baneblade on it, and like, here, Ennis, in between turns, could you just like do this bit while I go and do do coverage?
So yeah, that's what I was sent. I definitely opened that box, and I was having kind of a rough week, and I just laughed for a solid minute or two about it because it was the most ridiculous thing that I've randomly received in the mail since Alex Taus, who's in our chat, sent me a kettle anonymously because I was microwaving tea.
I still can't believe that was ever a thing you were doing.
The kettle's actually right back there. The kettle's actually right there behind me. I do occasionally still microwave tea. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. Like, what's the point about lying about it? I didn't get to serve Alex Taus when he slept on my couch when visiting Chicago.
No, you're banned. No, you microwave tea.
You've been muted.
All right, let's do questions.
All right, I guess
I know, right? Who microwaves tea? How is that a thing that you want to do?
Tea while Taus was there, though. It's true. All right, I'm going to go to the question.
All right, let's kick off the questions.
Luke G is asking in the Discord, how much would the nerfed Oath of Moments hurt the current Marine Index? I'm trying to figure out how big of a nerf this would be if it was just in the balanced data slate versus along with the new codex.
Yeah, Marines would not be a functional faction right now. They rely so heavily on that wound reroll because nothing does any goddamn damage in that book. I don't know how you like ever kill a thing with the Marines army. Like their strength like caps at 8 outside of like 3 things. No, it would not be good. It would not be a good time. You would be able to rebuild and build a functional army for some sub factions and some specific builds, but there would be very little list diversity, I think, because you would find exactly the things that work. Like you would probably still get away with like border discipline aggressors would still be great, and lancers would still be strong, and you would probably still get away with Deathly Knights with lance, and like I feel like that's kind of where you start pushing up to the limits because anything else, like Hellblasters, strongly rely on that wound reroll. Most of the vehicles like Gladiators, Reapers do. Death Watch stop existing. Like it seems very difficult once you get past that. There will be wholesale rewrites with the Marines faction to go with that, or we'll have new detachments or new abilities or new points. Don't expect it to be a wholesale 1-to-1 of the current.
Which we should see all of that on Saturday.
You should see all that on Saturday.
That's when the previews go live?
I'll be reading the Goonhammer reviews in between getting my face kicked in by Imperial Knights, according to Noah.
We have more Marine questions, and these ones are from Frank in the Discord again. Obviously, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Dark Angels are poised to be big winners with the Stormlance detachment. That's the one with Advance in Charge, right? The White Scars Esque one?
And it's mounted focused from what GW was telling us, which means that, like, Space Wolf...
All the bad units. It's going to be great for Ravenwing.
I mean, Blood Angels with all the jump pack stuff like Sanguinary Guard are going to enjoy any fly-based boosts, right? Death Company with jetpacks?
Death Company, yeah.
How would you rank the 3's perceived power level based just off what we know about the Stormlance detachment? Who do you think's coming out on top of those 3 with the Stormlance detachment?
Just Stormlance?
I haven't read them enough.
Just Stormlance.
Well, the only one that we really know about it is it has the you have advanced fallback and charge, which is great. They've hinted that there are like mounted enhancements and the like and buffs there. I think they did preview you get charged. If anyone finishes a move within 9 of you, and you can move like 6 away or something. Seems decent. I guess like if I'm looking at Space Wolves, Blood Angels, and Dark Angels, like Space Wolves and Dark Angels lean into the mounted side of that the best. Thunderwolf Cav with always fallback advance or with fallback or advance and charge.
Yeah,
At their current price point might actually be pretty good, but that footprint on that army is massive. Sorry, what?
Not with that wound rerolls though.
Yeah, I know. Just put a
hit like wet toffee.
Wolfington the Third that gives them lethals in the unit.
Sir Wolfington the Seventh provides your army with Wolftail Talismans, which grant you reroll 1s to wound on the Wolf Moon.
Yeah.
Only if you're wearing
probably
a
on the
Wolf
bottom of that,
Moon
and then I'd put
yes.
DA a second. Where BA would probably shine more would be in the Salamanders detachment that they previewed, where all of your weapons gain assault and +1 strength within 12 inches.
Yep. There's a lot of the Blood Angel stuff that's good not like have assault already. Like Ball Predators already have assault, and
I'm thinking like Hand Flamers and Inferno Pistols.
I feel like if you're in range to shoot those, you'd rather just be charging, though, right?
You can do both.
Is it advance and is it assault and charge?
No. But what I mean is that like the +1 strength on range on range weapons within 12 is more felt when on short range weapons like that.
Yeah, not sold. It seems a little sketchy.
Yeah. Also, it's the Salamanders detachment, so maybe we'll see the old Flamecraft come back. Not Flamecraft. That was the Max Shots one. What was the one that did the?
Nobody knows.
Whatever one did the mortal wound bomb.
The one where you can do like 800 mortal wounds. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about, but I have no idea. It was like Firestorm or something like that, right?
Yeah.
All right. We'll keep moving to the next question. If Stormlands were to get a Lance/AP stratagem, would that impact your rankings?
Yeah, if it had a really good stratagem, I would think it was better.
Yeah, I don't think it would change the like Space Wolves DA BA mix of that. I mean, always advance and charge Deathwing Knights just sounds amazing.
They already have that though, right? Like that's the problem.
I know they already have that, but we're like,
do death companies have Lance?
The problem with all of this stuff, right?
They have access to Lance from the Strat and Gladius right now.
The real problem with all of this, okay, is that this all sounds great, but it also sounds hyper specialized, and hyper specialized is not right now how you build good Marines lists. Good Marines lists want you to have the ability to do damage at range, damage at melee, so that you can maximize Ultra Moment into different targets depending on the situation. They want you to have scoring units that can punch up because of Ultra Moment. With Ultra Moment going away, like that all changes, but also the flexibility provided by Gladius is that everything in your army benefits from Gladius in some way, shape, or form. If you play one of these like all melee armies, you're probably still going to need some shooting. It's just not going to have any support besides Ultra Moment. And with Ultra Moment getting worse, that probably indicates that more of that load is pushed into data sheets, which if Stormlands isn't supporting very well, then makes Marines even more binary because you just have to go even harder into the all-in melee or the all-in shooting, and you can't like get away with running a couple of units that advance and charge in the right situations, or a couple of units that advance and shoot or get Storm of Fire. You know, you just lean away from it, and it becomes way more awkward, way more binary. And I think that's generally leans towards those attachments being less interesting. Think how we've seen a ton less out of like the ones that are doing well in NIDS right now are like Synaptic Nexus Invasion Fleet, seem to be the ones that are proving the most interesting because they have the most all-round options, whereas Vanguard Invasion, which has like a ton of cool stuff, is a little more binary, a little more awkward, and struggling a little more because it only really has one way to play, and that one way to play when it's not good is really not good. Whereas Gladius seems a lot more all-rounder, and that's why you see people playing it a ton more compared to stuff like even Righteous Crusaders or Sons of Sanguinius, which are decent attachments but very one-dimensional, and you tend to see that the other than like specific skew builds that people still lean towards Gladius. Even we're seeing Deathwatch go to a little bit towards Gladius now, with Kevin doing really well with them at that Slovenian event. So I think don't expect a ton. I would say generally I'm still mostly inclined to be like having access to all of them on demand, being able to do whatever I want under the right situations is generally going to be stronger unless something significant changes with the way you want to play Marines.
Sure.
Yeah, it seems right.
The third question from Frank is, where do you see Marines pivoting, like lieutenants and chaplains, spamming twin-linked / assault intercessors? The example that he uses is assault centurions are strength 10, AP 2, 3 damage with twin-linked.
Whatever's cheapest and whatever's stupidest and cheapest. But
enough.
11
Yeah.
Scepter. And Scepter seem like they're going to be pretty good after the changes. They seem like a good option for damage unit. Anything with Twin Linked, yeah, makes sense. But Twin Linked generally means the reduced shots or reduced attacks in a lot of situations. Spamming Lieutenants just feels wrong. Like, you are, even with Oath, you are chasing, so little of a damage. Lethal Hits just isn't a huge damage buff, like, compared to, like, Sustained Hits. Like, it feels good, but when Lethal Hits is good, it's because you're firing at a target that your gun is bad into, rather than, like, a target. Like, if your gun already wounds on 2s or 3s, like, Lethal Hits just has very little impact. And if your gun is wounding on 5s or 6s, it's probably, like, a terrible AP or damage for the target you're shooting at, which just, it kind of results in, like, this really awkward little feels bad. Like, CSM being a great example. Sometimes you just get lethal hits when you're shooting. You're like, yeah, man, I sure did make them take 3 bolt pistol saves. I really just don't care. Because it's just not, like, lethal hits makes you better at the targets you're good at, but you're already kind of not struggling with that because you're already good at that target, and you can probably just spend those resources on having your units shoot more or do something different. You kind of really need like combo with lethal hits, like lethal and sustained from the apothecary biologist or the lieutenant with border discipline, or you need to like really like punch up with that ability. And there's just not a ton. Like, I don't think there's a ton of like lethal hits abuse in the game, whereas sustained hits there's a ton more. I'm struggling to think of one. Like, even Death Guard, it kind of, you almost feel like you forget you have it sometimes.
Yeah, it makes your plague's weapon suck slightly less, and that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a good rule, don't get me wrong. Like, you're never unhappy to have it, but it's not something I would build for.
Finally, do you think the Oath's nerf would push you towards Deathwing command squads over Knights? Not quite as durable, trading -1 damage for reviving, but a bit safer melee profile with fists/hammers, along with the suite of character buffs you get for free in quotation marks.
Stop trying to make Deathwing command squads happen, guys. They're not good.
Excellent. I like that short answer. Bryce has the next question. Well, it's more of a statement, which is, I was promised a stat check die for making Anthony laugh. How might I go about obtaining one in a way that does not involve a last-minute flight to London? Side note, I will only ever use it to represent a 6 fate die.
Come to tournaments that we're at, and one of us will give you a dice.
It's true.
Yep. I will give dice to basically anybody who says hello to me at any point during a tournament.
I mostly require swaps, but I will still give you one.
I'll just give you one. I don't.
And we are doing a new run of dice. We're going to do some limited edition as well as the white and black again.
Hell yeah.
Details on that coming TBD.
Can I request
Hopefully
like
in the
neon
next little
pink ones? I think that'd be great.
I did actually suggest that to Dan because he wanted to do a bunch of limited edition runs and he was trying to think of one for Anthony. I said, well, we should just do Emperor's Children pink.
It's a good choice.
Make him sad give him like 50 of those and say these are your dice now.
You can roll these for all the saves you're going to take on the way of dying on the way out of transports.
Derek asks, what do you fear most with the upcoming Marine decks? What do you have the most hopium about as well?
Oh god, playing against it 7 times in a row at a tournament.
Yeah. From what we've seen so far, I mean, again, the Oath nerf the Oath change might just be couched with a whole bunch of detachment rules that break everything. Or stratagems that break things, or data sheet rewrites that break things. That's my hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm most worried it's going to be good and boring. That's the one thing I the most don't want. I kind of like Gladius. Gladius has like a really cool like movement shenanigansy based playstyle where it feels like you're interacting with a bunch of stuff, and like it's pushed in a couple of ways that it shouldn't be. And Oath is a really boring mechanic, and blah 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 blah. But Gladius attachment is super cool. I'm really worried that this could be like, hey, here's the guns attachment. The guns attachment says dead. Good luck. And then they just like make Guilliman Castle way stronger, and then you play against that 5 times in a row at tournaments, and I just don't want that. I would like it to be a mixed arms melee, like mixed arms, potentially slightly melee focused. But I also like if it's going to be the boring one, I want it to not be good if it's at least going to be boring, so I at least don't feel obligated to play it, so I can at least play a fun faction. And Chris, no, we will not be releasing the white objective markers. Those are just for the founders. We're keeping those for us.
And TJ.
No, Anthony got his back from TJ. I'm told.
Will is asking, what's the process like for moving the stats off Excel? And have we decided what to use yet? Are we deciding to move the stats off Excel? Like, does it matter that we do that?
So a lot of the stuff that
to hear that they're on Excel. Let's start with that.
Yeah. So anyone who may not know this, but for the last 18 months, I have been running all of the stat stuff out of Excel, and it has worked perfectly fine, aside from the occasional time when it crashed my computer. But I fixed all the crashing problems. That's not an issue anymore. The bigger challenge that we're looking at is that we want to start providing data services for people with all of this data that we now have for people to work with. Excel is not a means of doing that. So we are looking at various options. We have a couple people within the community helping us out. TBD is the answer on that.
Everything runs on Excel, like everything.
Yeah, right now everything runs on Excel, and it runs fine.
Like, I'm pretty sure somewhere deep down the line, this stream is running on Excel. I promise you. So somewhere down the line, this is all happening because of an Excel program that all the updates once a year, maybe.
Autark in quotation marks Ben asks, out of the 6 named characters in Gaunt's Ghost, which one would you be?
Try again, Bragg.
It's a good one.
I don't know any of their names.
I was going to say,
I don't differentiate any of them other than that Gaunt has a cool hat, so I would not be Gaunt. I don't look good in a hat.
they don't have the medic, the suffering medic, which is who I feel like I would be at the moment. Jeremy, how hyped are you about Votan being prepped and ready to choke out some talls? Is what Derek said. Those things are so tiny. Can you put that back up against the screen one more time?
This is a Sagittar for anyone who has never seen the Sagittar. I have normal-sized hands. This is a land fortress.
Citation needed. Prove you have normal-sized hands.
Do you have anything for size reference? A Space Marine, perhaps?
Yes, actually, I do.
There we go.
There.
Now put the Sagittar next to that Terminator Librarian. God, that Terminator Librarian is almost it's like nearly the same weight as that Sagittar.
Do you think? I think that Sagittar might be smaller than Death Leaper.
Probably
vertically, yes, definitely is. It's very funny. It's very funny, actually, with Death Leaper. The number of people that feel that because he is a big, imposing model, he must be very killy.
Okay, I told this story on the stroll last week. Can't use it again.
No, but it happened again. Someone ran Death Leaper at me, and I said, "Mm-mm."
Don't do that. That's a 70-point lone operative. Sit him on an objective. Stop being cute.
Occasionally come within 12 inches of me so that you get +1 to wound me.
That's Neurolictors.
Oh, Neurolictors. No, he's the -1 leadership.
And Battle Shock is if you're
easier to Battle Shock, yes. All right. Are demons the worst chaos army now? Is what Donatas is asking.
Based on perception, not stats?
No, Chaos Titans. Chill.
That's not a real faction. Although I guess you can't select it as your faction.
They're only 1,100 points. You can run Chaos Knight Titans as much as you like. Bet they win more than fucking demons.
Man, I'm going to open up my list building app because we're having all these questions now about list building. I'm going to see if the Titan Legions is one of them. We're going to open it. It's just going to take me a second.
I think Titan Legions only work as an ally, but I guess if you really didn't want a detachment, maybe? I don't know.
No, the reality is that World Eaters are still the worst.
You can make just a Titan Legion.
I think demons are probably the weakest, but it's not by much. I think demons, Thousand Sons, Death Guard all kind of like live together in a house that's kind of built with.
Put Thousand Sons much higher than that.
You can just make a Titan Legions detachment with no detachment. I don't care. It just says Titan Legion Strike Force, no detachment, and it says I can create this army.
So it works the same way as the Legion of the Imperium, which means that you could also add demons and Chaos Knights to that.
But the question would, right? Are you allowed? So looping back to that, are you allowed to run it because they don't have a detachment, or because you don't have to pick a detachment? Like, can I play Space Marines like just
without choosing a detachment?
Like,
I mean, you would still have your army roll, right?
I'd still have Gladiator. I'd still have Oath, yeah.
But you wouldn't have like combat doctrines or whatever the other ones give you.
You wouldn't have stratagems or enhancements.
Yeah, don't need them. I reckon Eldar players
Eldar
could still win.
You would have the core stratagems, yeah.
Which is actually different than what you had before. Because before, when you had an Unbound army, you didn't get CP.
Mm-hmm.
But now, it's like the Battle Forged or Unbound doesn't exist anymore. Okay, I'm going to go file a question to
right, Tim the Weird Boy is asking, if I'm having success with a slightly off meta list, should I stick to my current version or look to play what better players are running instead?
Hey, here's a secret. Why don't you try the other one, see if you like it, and if you do, play that instead, and if you don't, stick with what's working.
Yeah.
Don't change what's not broken.
But investigate. Maybe consider trying the new thing and seeing if it works for you, and if it doesn't, hey, no harm, no foul.
Dan F asks, what factions do you think are going to top cut at LGT?
7
Ooh.
Eldar, 1 CSM.
No, I don't think it's going to be that
I don't think
dire.
it is either, but
I
I
think
think
it's going to
that's
be
what
like
it should be.
now top cut. We're talking
Top cut is 32 people.
32
so
people. I'm going to say a quarter of them are going to be Eldari.
Up to 32 people.
Yeah. I'm going to say about a quarter of them are going to be Eldari. You're going to have like 3 CSM,
3 Marines.
3 Marines,
3 Tau.
3 Tau. So we're at 17 out of 32 now.
Okay, like add
Votan
50% to
will
all
make
of those
it.
numbers.
I feel like somebody
gonna
from
be like-
Votan is going to make
No,
it.
because I think we're going to see a couple, like a Votan in there. We'll see like a Tyranid player who just dodge. Because remember, like when you have 700
no, I
people,
get
sometimes
it.
you just get
It's
the
going to be
bloody
like,
run.
yeah, I'm like 10 Eldar, 5 CSM, 5 Marines, 4 Tau, 2 of Votan and World Eaters and various other
That's basically
Nibnobbery
it.
and like
Yeah, I think it's fine.
one faction that shouldn't will have 3 factions in the top cut, and it'll be like whatever. Don't pay attention to the top cut. Pay attention to like if you're going based on like what hits shadow round, that should be what hits top 16 is probably what I would pay attention to rather than top
Yeah.
32. Because top 32 is just going to be whoever went 5-0, and that's a much wider pool. And it's also like before LVO would top cut, so I'm like just pay attention around later than you normally would.
Yeah, that's
Ed B is going to ask, how do you think perceptions of the meta will change after LGT?
Badly.
I don't think so, actually.
I think everyone's going to be real sick of the top, just all the top lists looking identical.
That's a symptom, I think, of not having enough books, which is definitely a problem at this point.
Sure, but that's also a thing we're going to be dealing with for like another 12 months at least. So.
Longer, probably like 2 years before we get all of them.
Yep, and then we'll get a year of a real meta, and then we'll move on to 11th edition.
Or maybe we won't.
Or we will, but sure. They got three games in a 3-year cycle. I don't know if you know how math works.
Could the newcomer/veteran data be improved by taking it to ELO rather than tournament attendance? I mean, the purpose of the newcomer/veteran data was just to look at who was going to tournaments initially, but ELO is a different way of approaching that same question.
Yeah, that's basically it.
I don't think
be an
it's
interesting
better
thing to look at. One of the things I'm going to be doing this weekend, since ELO got brought up, is I'm going to be using it to predict every round.
Cool. Mm-hmm. I like it. Dunster asks, what do you think of the winning guard list from the weekend, and do you think it has some legs in bigger events or teams? That must be the event. That's from Armed Forces Day that we didn't have in the data.
Yeah. Well, I'll pull it up real quick, and we can talk about it real quick.
I'm willing to bet it had a ton of models, and therefore had a lot of legs.
All right, so it was built in Battle Scrap, so I'm not even going to bother reading it because God, this thing sucks. Anyways, one character, Leontis. Oh, that's one epic hero. This is why I hate Battle Scrap.
6 legs.
Leontis with his warlord, who's a warlord, a Death Corps Marshal with the Death Mask, a platoon command squad, a Primera Psyker, and then one unit of Cadian Shock Troops, which is a 10-man, and then a 20-man Death Corps Krieg unit, a Scion unit, 2 Manticores, 3 Rogel Dorns, and then 3x2 Sentinels.
And this event was played on WTC terrain, medium boards as well. So,
yeah, Derek made a comment earlier that no one brought anti-tank.
That would make sense.
Might actually be the case. I haven't looked at the list of the rest of this.
Rough math, 102 legs. Plenty of legs. Let's go tons.
Well, there might be more in the Dorns.
That is true. Like, I don't know how many are inside those vehicles. Those could all be unmanned for all I know. I don't really know how the Imperium works.
And that Death Corps of Krieg character gives a feel no pain to the unit he's attached to. And then I guess if you attach that Primera Psyker also to it, then you have a unit that's like modestly durable.
Against some things, yes.
That's why I said
if you
modestly
can kill 20
durable.
If you can kill 20 Necron Warriors, but, you know, not everybody can, so...
Yeah.
Then you can kill the 20...
Triple Dorn is weird, but...
Yeah, the Krieg combo I've seen before. You give the Marshal, give the Psyker, they now have a 4-up invuln against shooting, which does have a failure point, which is very funny to watch happen. Because when you fail, you take D3 mortal wounds, and you only have 3 wounds on the Psyker.
Maybe Maybe he just goes kaboom. That's fine.
In a deep cut reference, okay, I know what army James Grover should be playing. If anybody gets that one, I'll be very surprised at this point because it's been years. But
Luke G is going to ask, after seeing the LGT lists, were there any check choices in top lists that surprised you / stood out? I don't understand Manny's cultist spam list. I just don't get it. I don't.
It's an attempt at a stat check list, but
vulnerable save.
Yeah. Here's the problem: you go second and you don't have that.
You die.
Is Abaddon not start a battle round?
I thought it was command phase.
That's sad. Poor guys.
Let's find out.
I guess that's why I watched over Nurgle and stuff.
Abilities and your command phase. Select one War Master ability until the start of your next command phase. The model has that ability.
It's gonna hurt.
Especially with like people bringing a fair amount of indirect.
Or someone just tries to kill Abaddon and goes,
Ape of Justice, also known as James.
Nobody's killing Abaddon turn 1. That's not mathematically possible when you have a CP, but sure.
No, but
I take your point.
Any other
the biggest enemy of that list is a clock, so
Philesque is definitely a tech choice that's showing up a bunch in like CSM lists that I think is super cool. Basilisk over Manticores and Dave Gaylor's list was interesting. A bunch of the Dice Down London guys are running Dark Reapers, which confused the hell out of me. I think that garbage actually is garbage. Same with Void Weavers, but they're very popular among that group. I don't know. That was from their invitation list. I haven't actually looked at their real lists. I don't know. That's all I got.
James is going to ask, if we still don't know, when will we know? Or do we not know whether we do or don't know, and therefore can never know one way or another?
Unfortunately, we can never know. It's just not possible.
We don't know what we don't know.
The candor, but we will never be able to know anything.
What is your favorite terrain layout?
WTC. Specifically the Super Ls, where night players are sad.
I played on the Super Ls against an Eldari player, and he had both avatars, and I was just like, "You're not killing anything with 2 Night Spinners, so the Incarnate has to walk." And his Avatar of Cain was like, "I guess I'm just gonna go walk over on that objective because these big L's prevent me from going anywhere."
Yep, I think every board should be a Super L. We should play like every single board should be the one where there's like the 4 Super Ls that are around the middle, and there's like a 12-inch there's like a 12-inch gap around the middle objective with no terrain. It's just like the shooting alley the size of like you could like deploy an army in there like as like you could use that as like a display board. Yeah, it's you should play every game on the Super L Thunderdome. That's what I want to see in my life. More games on the Thunderdome.
Adam, life should be a Super L. Trust me, for some of us it is.
All right, we're going to keep moving.
In the United States or the UK, where everything is terrible.
Derek asks, what have you been doing to retain the fun of building lists? There is no fun in building lists.
I haven't been.
Yeah, that's my answer.
I don't think there was ever really fun in building lists.
That's not true. I have enough. I think I might have just been bored at work a lot, but I have a lot of notebooks filled with lists.
I build
should bring
lists
back
for a
psychic
bunch of
mastery levels. That's what they should do.
No.
Bring back bring back rolling for your spells.
Adam has the real
Sorry.
Adam has the real point, which is that my poo time has never been more empty. It's true. I don't build lists on the toilet as much anymore.
They should bring back granular point cost, but only for plasma pistols.
I was building
pistols.
Yeah,
I was recently building
plasma pistols cost more points.
Yeah. Everyone plays power level, except it's just larger numbers is the truth of the current environment. Alex Taos.
Eldar don't play power level. Shadow Spectre Exarchs cost extra points. It is the only points upgrade I'm aware of.
So what?
Yeah, but it's still a model, so it's not a points upgrade.
Yeah, it's just
but it's like you can put one dude in for 20 points. It's just like, all right, cool.
You add the sergeant for 20 points to that unit.
Yep.
All right, where were we? Nick K asks, any armies or lists to look for at LGT that you think are doing something unusual or underrated?
I didn't read all 700 lists. Sorry, Nate. Jeremy said there was no cool ones.
I mean, I fully expect people to underestimate Anthony's world eaters and just get trolled by them.
Oh, I'm 100%. It's gonna happen like 4 times. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, there's gonna be that like, and again, this is what had made me enjoy seeing Anthony embrace world eaters again so much is the shock and awe that people feel when he runs through them. I witnessed this at the event that we ran a few weeks ago, which was right after the data slate, and someone was running World Eaters, and he went first into Chaos Knights and tabled him in a turn and a half, and the Chaos Knight player went, didn't expect that.
Turns out,
Archon
World Eaters are fast and angry.
They are.
Archon Rahal, the Shadow Spectre Exarch does in fact have 2 wounds.
You shouldn't, but that's fine.
I mean, if you're going to pay like whatever amount of points for him, you might as
20.
well have the second wound.
He should have
20
half a
points.
wound.
1.5 wounds.
No. Half
Like-
a wound.
Well, 0.5 wounds.
Yeah.
So he exists
should
in
start the game
Schrodinger's death.
He is
Neither
he is
alive
Schrodinger's
nor
Start the
law.
dead.
game, you roll a 4 up.
Neither alive nor dead until you observe him. All right. Preston just
Yeah,
says, howdy,
actually, I
y'all,
think Coral
and
raises
good
a good
luck.
point. Points cost being on like just sergeant weapons would be cool. Like I'm fine with the you could run 5 or 10 models. I actually hated 7 model squads and shit like that. It was like my least favorite thing. That didn't actually matter. But yeah, I think stuff like sergeant weapons would be a good place to have it, where you can pay out your last 5 points by padding out. I also kind of get the whole you're gonna run a sergeant. It's nice if he's at least cool. So it, your sergeant just being a generic dude in a marine squad and stuff like that sucks, but not all armies are created equal on that front, so it's tough. I don't think that's a really good way to deal with it now. Also, I'm pretty sure the game structure map would implode if you started grabbing up points costs. So
I don't know. I think that the movement to essentially power level with just more more decimal points was a mistake. All right. I'm going to try to move through these a little bit faster. With Mike Porter winning a GT with Harlequins, how ready are we for the return of our true Harlequin overlords?
You didn't win with Harlequins. You won with Eldari.
It's true. He
Come
did
back
not
to
win
me
with pure
a
Harlequins.
true Harlequin army with a
when he
Harlequin
cuts
attack.
when he cuts Fuigan, we'll talk.
Yeah.
And Shadow Specters and Warp Spiders.
Yeah, he did cut all of those for LGT.
Okay.
He just has
But he
Fuigan
didn't
in
for
his
the
list
GT
now.
that he won, though.
Correct.
Just Dana says, just remember at LGT to always be rootin', always be tootin', but most of all, always be kind.
Except
Good
the
reminder.
other players who deserve your hatred.
And then Eric has a long one, which says, hi, guys. I have a small local RTT coming up here in the Midwest. It's a mix of more casual and more competitive folks. Only the Eldar player is more casual. The more competitive folks play Necrons, Black Templars, Knights, and CSM. It says CMS, but I'm going to assume it's CSM. If David Gaylord were going to fly out to attend this RTT, what faction would you recommend he play?
Whatever he can fit in his backpack, which he will forget. Love you, David.
Richard asks, when looking at opponents' lists, are there any things you look out for to give you a hint for how they might want to approach the game?
Ooh, that's a really broad question, but
Okay. How many units that are small and fast do they have? Have they built in a ton of them? If they're doing that, they're generally looking to play tactical. If they're playing a lot of mid-40 infantry style units, it's usually a sign that they're generally more preference to fixed, like lone ops and things like that. So if you look at a CSM list and you see a bunch of lone ops, it's probably leaning towards tactical. If you see a bunch of Warp Talons and Raptors, we're probably leaning towards fixed. If you see Warp Talons and Raptors, probably leaning towards fixed. Same with Space Marines. Scout Snipers probably leans towards tactical. Inceptor probably leans towards fixed. Inceptors probably leans towards tactical. That's the kind of thing you can start looking for. As far as playing the game, do they have a really big anvil unit that they're going to be centered around? Are they playing a lot of backfield shooting? Are they playing a lot of fast shooting? This kind of all gives you an idea of how to start looking at the ways that this list is going to try and win the game. Is it looking to sit back in its deployment zone? Is it looking to push you? Is it looking to take the mid board? Does it have the capacity to push you off objectives without giving you units back? Or does it have to play a trading game? All these kind of things will start telling you how your opponent wants to start interacting with you, and then you can start trying to build your game plan around that. Do you, based on that information of how they're starting to look for those things, do that? A lot of the time you can read a list and you can kind of intuit, is this an aggressive list or a passive list? And then every list is somewhere in the middle between those two, except exactly World Eaters and Guard Gunline. You're going to have to find somewhere in the middle and make assessments based on that. You're never going to get it perfect. You shouldn't be trying to get it perfect. You should be trying to get a baseline that you can deploy with the most information you can, and then adapt on the fly as soon as your opponent starts making decisions. Don't commit to a game plan too early. Give your opponent time to give yourself time to feel the game out. Reading the list is more about making sure you understand what it's capable of and planning for every eventuality, rather than trying to, this is what my opponent's going to do. Don't try to mind palace it. It's so overrated. You don't have to understand how your opponent's going to play the game to have a basic game plan around the things they could do and the ways that they can punish you. Don't try to Don't try to like soul read your opponent off their list. It's not worth it. It's not worth the mental energy of trying to really do that at the beginning of the game, unless it's like the hardest match of your life in the world finals, in which case, yeah, man, go for it. Give it a shot.
Autark Ben is going to ask, what sort of desserts do you like to have following a steak dinner? I'm going to say key lime pie or like a nice custard dessert, like a flan or something like that. Although key lime pie is also a custard dessert. So,
Or a nice cheesecake.
Cheesecake's good.
Cheesecake's a good shout. I'm a big fan of like a chocolate fudge brownie with like ice cream or something like that. But honestly, the answer is more steak. Whenever I have a steak, the only thing I want after that steak is more of the steak.
Too true.
Quite frankly, I've never had a steak that I was like, that was enough steak.
Man,
what
I
is the
should take you
steakhouse
to
that we
the-
went to in New York.
No, I could have eaten that again. Maybe at Bacchanal, I was like, that was enough steak. That was
Alright.
probably the only
That
time.
was
That was
definitely
enough
up
food.
That was enough
Bobby-
food, yeah. But I never found the Wagyu when we were at Bacchanal. Nobody told me there was Wagyu, so...
Bobby Rez asks, basically just for Jeremy, what's a better starting point for a Votan list? 30 Hearthguard or 6 Sagittar?
there. Here's a fun one. You can actually fit both.
Oh, fuck you.
6 Sagittar, 30 Warriors, and 30 Hearthguard is 1,830 points.
So you can still fit a war. You can fit a
You
call
can fit
in to be your
you can fit a
warlord.
call
champions.
and a champion, or 2 champions, or 2 calls, or realistically, if you wanted to go heavy into Hearthguard, you could do 30 Hearthguard, 4 Sagittar, and then the characters for your Hearthguard, and then a little bit of Pioneers for scoring. And that list will hurt a lot of people really, really badly.
Yeah, we're going to learn that those points cuts might have been a mistake also for Votan at some point.
I don't think they were a mistake. I think they were just a little too far.
I think they were in the wrong
That's a
places.
version of a
That's
a
the...
version of a mistake.
I feel like
Yeah,
they
but
shouldn't have been on Sagittar. I think that was the one thing that was like, Sagittar? Really? That data sheet was already fucked.
Like 110 for a Sagittar was probably a fair cut too. 100 for a Sagittar was a whoo, hello.
Yeah.
Right, now I'm going to blast through questions from the chat that we starred, essentially.
All right,
Mhm.
let's do it.
The first one is from Dominic Galliano, who gave $5 to say, labor laws sounds like socialism. And that's true. That does sound like socialism. That's why we don't have any in the United States. No labor laws whatsoever. Then it's Tim doing $2 worth of super sticker. It just says
Nope,
$1.99 super sticker.
He gave us a super sticker. I don't know what a super sticker is, but he gave us one.
I just have all the
think it shows
starred
up on the
ones.
YouTube side of things. We don't see it on our stream side.
Okay, cool.
It's a really big, pretty sticker that shows up in the chat.
Oh, that's cute. Thank you. Tom.
I just have Dorian and I do have Dorian. I just missed it because the other one went away. Dorian Bashaw asks 2 or 3 Norns for a list.
1?
None?
I mean, if you're gonna run 2 or 3, just run 3, run 2 emissaries and an assimilator and have a good time.
If you're going to run Norns, go all out. Run them all. If you're not going to run Norns and you're sane, run none.
Yes.
Hmm.
Davlo says rock and stone. Donald
Sure,
Plummer, thank you for $10. Cliff was right, Tower good, and I'm sad that he's not here. I mean, I think all of us have been
We're
saying
all-
that Tower good.
Oh, I was going to talk about Cliff. Sorry. Like, okay.
We're
Sure,
all-
Warhammer, I guess.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your crush on Cliff.
Look, we're all glad Cliff's not here because people pay attention to us when Cliff's not here. It's very difficult to get a word in edgeways when everybody's staring at Cliff.
Innes is just
Okay.
hypnotized by Cliff. Chris Irvine
at
says
all times.
bread. He gave us five pounds to look at bread. So yeah, I'll share this bread thing. Why not? All right, share screen.
It's going to be so disappointing. I can't wait.
It is. I told you it's going to be disappointing. I don't know what you guys want. It's just 14 must-see bread making sites, and then a list of websites with different things that they make.
You need to send the link to me so I can put it in the show notes.
Can you click one so we can see some bread on the stream?
Yes,
The fresh
I'm
loaf
gonna-
sounds pretty good.
That's where we're gonna go.
I'm up for Breadtopia, but I'll take the fresh loaf.
Here's some
Ooh,
bread.
The bread on the right looks real good, by the way.
That
That
hollow
does,
bread
that's a
looks
really
so
good
nice.
That is a Sharbati Atta, matcha, coconut loaves, and others. All
Ooh.
braided loaves. I really like the
Coconut.
polenta sourdough on the other side as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's seen me, but I really like bread. So
Here, we'll go to Breadtopia as well, since we're here. It's
what we're
artisanal
about, that's
home bread
a strong
baking.
opening line. What we're about.
4
bread.
ingredients. And then it's a bunch
Yep.
of products that you can buy from
Buy a
them.
Danish
Oh, here's some
sandwich.
pictures of bread.
There's the nice
There you go.
loaves. Ooh.
I've used some of the recipes from this website actually. I've made the bagels and I've made
Ooh,
their
did I need
baguettes.
bagels for lunch tomorrow? That's a good shout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to go out to the bagel shop now.
I'm gonna make them, but that's
Sourdough focaccia is also very good.
Yeah, that's because I want to get like some really nice like garlic bagels.
Is there anything else on here? Oh, some desserts, more challah bread, some
Cheese.
sourdough
No,
starter.
that's dope.
There. I'm just going to scroll all the way to the bottom. There you go. Got maximum bread out of this.
Regenerative
Now,
agriculture is very important as well.
it's true. All right. Congratulations. You've all seen bread. Thank you to Ayer also who asked for breads. Thank you to Ines who did in fact follow through. Show us the breads. Tim continues
I
to
added my
launder
credit
money.
card to YouTube for that, by the way.
I'm glad that you've joined the laundering money club. Tim continues to launder money, this time to shout out for Crucible Orlando Major.
Yep.
I
So
don't know
major
if that
happening this
happened.
weekend.
There we go. Valentine has an actual question. Prepping a local team for a 5v5 WTC tournament. Thoughts on comp? Chaos Knights, Death Guard, Necrons, Orcs, and Thousand Suns.
You should have Eldar.
Yeah, I was gonna say Eldar definitely needs to be in there.
You should cut any of those for Eldar, and then you have a fine comp.
I would cut.
It's probably a little light on shooting. You would definitely want to make sure you're leading at least one of those builds towards being a really heavy shooting list to pair with the Thousand Suns. Eldar probably. I would probably put an Eldar in over DG. Just they're probably
I'd
the
put
least,
Tau
but
in
also
there.
over Orcs. Yeah, I mean, like after that, I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, fine, you're playing factions you like, but you should have Eldar. Otherwise, you're just going to give up a win to Eldar every round. You should probably not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me. John asks, are you finding that building lists to do fixed or tactical secondaries are getting you better results, or just going with damage with mission play?
Building lists to do secondaries, to at least have a plan for some form of secondaries, usually results in you having a much higher score floor. Like, your losses are going to be less bad, your wins are going to be more consistent. You should have a plan to score points. I feel like that's not really you can run a lot of units that are good at scoring and good at killing, or will protect your scoring, will protect units while you're scoring. There is a reason screens and chaff are so powerful. It's that they can score points while advancing your game plan. You do not need to run 2,000 points of damage to kill 2,000 points of your opponent's army. You're perfectly capable of killing, most units will kill about half their points in a turn in damage output, assuming like you're going reasonably. Somewhere between like a third and half. You don't need, if you do that for 5 turns, you can kill your opponent's army twice a lot of the time. Don't worry too much about it. Keep your stuff alive is just as valuable as sinking everything into damage.
Yeah, makes sense.
The next one is from Doma Do Good, which is, who are the top 8 players, regardless of faction, to watch?
This is
Oh,
with
let's
respect to
go to
LGT.
circle. Let's go to circle. Just everybody say a player, and we'll go around until we've done 3 each.
All right, Ines, you start.
Okay. Vic VJ.
Jeremy.
Oh, we're going counterclockwise? Wow, this is throwing me off.
Well, that's evil.
I'm going to say Malcolm in Rubio because he might actually pull out something interesting this event.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to cheat and say Ines.
That's fine. Manny Chima. Manny's a very consistent good player, and he's like top ranked in the world right now. I would generally recommend watching what he does.
Yeah, you're not wrong. For some reason, Adam Lane is coming to mind.
He's got a Talus that's pretty interesting. Brian, is it Seep or Sipe? I can never remember. Sipe. Brian. Yep.
Nassim Fashane, another Team England player, very good player. Playing Eldar. I hate that I've shouted out like 2 other players and a goddamn CSM player, but it's fine.
The double Wraithguard list looks like it might lose that mirror though.
And I guess I'm number 8, so that'll be Anthony.
Oh, we're gonna do 3 each, right?
Oh, okay. So then your last one.
Dang, now I got totally David Gaylord. There we go.
Another Ignite player. I'll share a bunch more because I'm here and I know them. Basically anybody from Team England. So Josh Roberts, James Ramsey, Mike Porter. I don't think Chris Kinnear's there. Anyone from Ignite, so Chris Radford, Yoko Johansson, Liam VSL, Alexander, anybody who's also really good from other WC teams. Olivier Weiss from Team France, Alexander Sacco from Team Belgium, along with Liam VSL. Guillaume from Team Belgium as well. Hadar from Team Iceland. I'm pretty sure Lamar is over from Team France, Lamar Philpott. There's a ton of really, really good high-end players. They don't all necessarily have really good ITC ranks or really good individuals, and I'm sure I've missed a bunch of people off there. I'm just going off the top of my head of people that I saw on the list.
Yeah.
Liam and
Places to say
Alexander
that some of the
Sacco are
best
two that I'm
players in
watching.
Europe are going to be here.
Yeah, or they're in
Yeah,
Germany, so
most
because
of them.
Bremen's this
Yeah.
weekend as well. Having a very quick Boris Michev is another Ignite player playing Gene Steer Cults. There's 750 players here. I'm going to stop at some point.
Olivier's
Chris
another one.
Radford on
He's a-
CSM. Yeah, Olivier's playing Strike and 10 Vanguard veterans. I love him. I can't wait to see how that does. Yeah, no, there's so many fantastic players at this tournament. It is going to be an absolute shark tank, whatever happens. Once you get up to like 3 or 4 wins, you're going to be playing tough games. There is absolutely no way that you dodge all the way to the end. Last year, we saw the absolute unknown at the time of Alexander Sacco win the tournament. I am personally betting on him for the repeat. I think it's the best storyline that could happen, especially because he's on CSM. I think Liam VSL will win the tournament, but I'm rooting for Sacco.
I would be pretty happy with Liam or with Sacco winning the tournament. That'd be pretty cool.
100%.
Oh,
by
Kit
the way,
Smith-Hanna is over from the US as well. Worth trying out. He did really well in the ITC season last year.
yeah, he's a very strong player. He did quite well at LVO last year. I think he lost round 1 in a nail biter too because he was against Sam Procopio, and then just stomped his way through the rest of the bracket. By the way, I believe it is Haidar that is playing the 18 Blood Crushers.
Hell yeah, Haidar. I love it. Thank you.
Haidar has that 2 Ren Masters, Bellicor, and Changeling, 3 Nurglings, and then a unit of Flamers and 3 units of Fleshhounds.
Am I allowed to be disappointed that it's not pure corn?
Yeah, I think you are. It's so close.
Also, I'm disappointed in our next super chatter, even though they gave us $7.77 because their name is Magnus Did Nothing Wrong, but they gave us Nurgle's number and money. Come on.
They're asking a Nurgle question, so it's acceptable.
I know. It's just so many mixed signals that I'm getting from the situation.
I have one more to add. Robin Credits is going to be there. I would love to see I can't wait to see how he does.
Oh, he's
just
playing?
in general. Yeah, he's playing Sisters. As is Scott Perry. They're both from the GW design team. Ricky Sims and Chris Arbon, who are also both my teammates, and Ryan Carr and Alan Davidson and Nicholas Malone, the other guys on Team Scotland. I gotta get the name in there.
Magnus is asking, "What up, fam? If doing Plague Marine spam for Death Guard, 7-mans with characters and rhinos, 10 in rhinos, or triple miasmic malignifiers for adding -1 to hit with the weapon skill, ballistic skill debuff."
I think the malignant magnifiers are a bad idea.
Don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Please, for my sanity, if not for yours.
That would require you to have any sanity left to give up, Innes. And that is it.
You don't want to try the miasmic malignifiers because I just realized that their aura, you have to be wholly within 6.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. Don't do that.
Although they do have the infiltrator's ability.
Guys,
I don't think I see any other questions.
Even Games Workshop use those as terrain.
That's a good point, actually. I forgot about that. They are on all the Nurgle boards for the US Open events.
I love it. I do love that.
All right, guys.
That's it for questions as far as I can tell. Why don't you read us out, Innes?
I'm not going to run the plugs again. You heard it all before. Patreon, YouTube, coaching, X1, End of the Matrix, California Cup. Do all the things. Please do remember to do all the things. If you don't do the things, someone will be sad. It's probably me. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us for episode 62 of Stat Check. 2 data points is a meta. I'm not going to shout it again because it's 1 a.m. and that might be a little rude to my family. Have a great time. Good luck at any tournaments this weekend. As always, if you're LGT, please do come say hi. Myself and Anthony will be there. We're more than happy to have a chat or just hear you praise us. Frankly, I'm always down for that. Have a wonderful time. Good luck at any tournaments. Nathan, roll us out.
Bye-bye.